Hi friends, my name is Emma and let's talk spooky stuff. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another What I Watched This Month. I didn't think I watched a lot, but before I started this video, I had a little scroll and I watched a lot, including a lot of TV. I think I said that last month, but a lot of TV this month. I'm really excited to jump into it and let you know all my feedback on what I watched. But first, I want to thank today's sponsor, a sponsor that always helps me in finding content and unlocking geo-blocked content. Yes, it's Surfshark. Surfshark is a VPN, which stands for Virtual Private Network. Not only do they encrypt all of your information and protect your identity online, they also unlock content on streaming devices that you may not have access to in your country. So, for example, if you're looking to binge watch something that is only available on Canadian Netflix or American Netflix or the UK's Netflix, all you have to do is type in the location where you want to be at and you will magically appear there, to Netflix at least. This unlocks thousands of titles for you and gives you a whole new library. I have been using Surfshark for almost 2 years now out of my own pocket. I pay for it myself because I love it. It is the easiest VPN I've ever used and it's so crucial for movie watching for me. Surfshark have a 30-day risk-free money-back guarantee, so if you aren't happy with the product within 30 days, you can ask for a refund and they'll give it to you, no questions asked. To unlock geo-blocked content right now, download Surfshark by using the link in the description below and use my code SPOOKY for 83% off and 3 months extra for free. Thank you so much to Surfshark for being my secret in finding content all over the world and of course for sponsoring this video. Okay, let's start at the start of the month, June. Here we are. The first thing I watched is The Mitchells versus the Machines. This is an animated movie that is on Netflix, at least here in Australia, and it was highly recommended by just people when I asked for an easy watch. Me and my partner watched this one and we thought it was fantastic. It's about a family, you know, the dysfunctional family, oddball type situation, especially in these animated movies. And they have it out with these robots that are trying to take over the world. It's a bit like heavy-handed on like the whole aspect of social media and your phones, being attached to your phones and then them taking over. So it's a look at that, but it's really well done. It was really funny. It was very heartwarming and the animation is great. So what more can you ask for? I do recommend that one. I watched Caveat, which I did a review on. I watched The Scary House, which this is a German, I believe it's a German film that hit Netflix this month, if you're watching in June. And yes, it wasn't great. It really burns out fast. I think I talked about this one in my What's Coming to VOD this month. So I probably wouldn't recommend it. It's about a family that moved to this remote town and their house is haunted and it's kind of cute. Like it starts off quite cute with them, you know, making friends with people in their town. The older brother like has like a love interest and it starts off kind of cool, but then it just really fizzles out fast. So unfortunately did not like that one. I watched Blue Jay. This was I'm laughing because someone suggested this to me and I know they're watching. This one, oh my gosh, I have been putting this off for so long because I just couldn't. I knew it was going to be really intense. I'm a huge fan of Mark Duplass, but I just knew that this was going to be a lot. It's Mark Duplass and Sarah Paulson as adults who meet again in their hometown, but they used to be childhood sweethearts and they're like reminiscing and going through like history about their relationship, but also she's in a different relationship and it's just this look at their relationship and what happened and how special it was to them in that time. So it's very emotional. It's a very emotional ride, but it is really well done and really captures that nostalgic of if you ever had a childhood sweetheart, really, or a high school sweetheart, really captures that. And it's kind of painful to watch, but I did enjoy it. I think it masters it and it does so in like a Mark Duplass kind of way. I think he wrote it. Did he write it? Oh, there you go. Jay Duplass and Mark Duplass. Oh, they're just, oh no, there you go. Writer. He is a writer. I felt like it was very much him. It's not like mumblecore, but it's just the way that, it's just Duplass. It's the way he does, you know, films like Baghead. So yeah, I think it's a very special film, and if that sounds up your alley and you're okay with being overly emotional, definitely check it out. I rewatched Mandy, and I did this for I Does This Offend You? So we do a live stream every single month, and it's in alternating channels. Next month it will be on Nightmare Mavens, and then it'll be back on mine. So we did this one on mine. We talked about Mandy, and we talked about Color Out of Space, which is up there a little bit, you can see. And yeah, if you want to hear all of our thoughts about those films, definitely check out the streams. They are a lot of fun. Don't let the name sway you that it's actually about us talking about being offended, because we're usually not. We usually love the films. We just want to talk about them and talk about the taboo parts of them. And Mandy has a lot of taboo parts. I really enjoyed watching this back because I remember when I saw it, I really loved it, but I was quite tired at the time and I had no idea how long it went. And it's such like a slow moving film, but so beautiful. Sorry, I haven't even mentioned what it's about. This is a Nicolas Cage, beautiful, atmospheric, sci-fi horror. Can I say sci-fi? Maybe not. And it is about this couple who go through this horrendous incident when a cult leader becomes infatuated with the woman Mandy. It's a tale of revenge, and it is just so beautiful. The music is my favorite part. I love the soundtrack. It's one of my favorite horror soundtracks of all time. Definitely check it out if you haven't seen it. I watched Hungry Hearts. Oh my god, I really wanted to like this film. What's his face? Adam Driver. I know, I should know that. Adam Driver, which is the reason I watched it. This movie is just like so everywhere. Sometimes I go through Shudder and I find like the really obscure films that I've never heard of, and I'm like, this must have something to do with horror. And it kind of does, but kind of doesn't. This one is about a couple who have a baby, and then the wife becomes obsessed with the health of the baby. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to give too much away. But if that sounds interesting to you, it probably would be interesting. I thought it was going to be about vampires, but I don't know where I got that, to be honest. Maybe because it's on Shudder and it's called Hungry Hearts. I think that's a me problem, I think. But look, you guys seem to really like it. I see a lot, like we've got a 4 here from one of you guys I follow. Howlin' Wolf, love your last name. Yeah, so interesting premise, but for me, I just was confused where it was going, and it's quite slow. I don't know. I just felt like I needed more of a climax. Anyway, moving on. This is my friend Mike Flanagan's first horror movie. He's done a lot of shorts before this, but anyway, we'll get to that when we get to that. Wait till the end of this video and I'll reveal something. And it is a low budget student film about a woman who is obsessed, or kind of letting go of her partner who went missing years ago, and then her sister comes into town and reveals her theory of where she thinks he's gone. It's low budget, it's very student, but it's a cool way of looking at what he's done and where it came from. So very much enjoyed rewatching that. I rewatched Book of Shadows. Do this every week. I'm kidding. But I did it for my video. Thank you so much to everyone who watched that video. A lot of time went into it. And yeah, I just love talking about those kinds of films. So if you didn't know, I did a video in defense of it, and I'm glad a lot of you guys felt the same, because I've always been judged for liking that movie. So thank you so much for watching that. And I guess here is the only place I won't be judged for liking that kind of stuff. I watched The Killing of Two Lovers, and this is a film part of the Revelation Festival, which is a local festival here. I watched this in the cinema. This is a drama that kind of appears like a thriller in its trailer, but it's really not. It's a slow moving drama that kind of messes with the cinematography in an interesting way, where there's very like almost too close-up shots, very long shots, and it's very like raw and feels very independent, but there's a great climax in this film that kind of like moved me from almost wanting to leave the cinema because I was so bored, to being really excited about it and thinking that it probably is worth watching for some people. There's this scene in it that is one of the best acted, most shocking scenes I've seen. It is a drama though, it's not like a horror or anything, so I don't think it's going to be the end of Hunter x Hunter or anything like that. It's about a couple who are separating, but they're seeing other people and they share kids and the complications that come along with that. If you were interested in it, I would say it's quite slow and slower than you probably anticipated from the trailer, because the trailer looks like a really thrilling ride, but it does have a scene that kind of makes it all worth it. I watched Color Out of Space again. And that was for the stream. I watched The Wrong Trousers. Guys, do you know where I watched this? I got to see this with the orchestra playing along with it. My partner and I went to like this kids concert and watched this. We're big Wallace and Gromit fans. If you didn't know, my dog is named after Gromit. So love Wallace and Gromit and love The Wrong Trousers. If you don't know, Wallace and Gromit is a very famous UK claymation. And it's about this weird ass inventor and his dog, and it's, yeah, quite sweet. Okay, I watched In the Mouth of Madness. I watched it with my patrons. A rewatch for me. Love the premise of this film and how it's kind of like a meta film. I think is really interesting. If you don't know about The Mouth of Madness, it's about this writer and about this man that needs to put together these clues to figure out where this writer is. And he follows these clues to try and find him. And, you know, reality turns into fiction. Sam Neill is always a joy to watch, but what is really interesting about this is that Sam Neill doesn't get rid of his accent, so he has like this New Zealand accent throughout this film, and it's quite interesting because sometimes it feels like he's going in and out of it. Sorry, I've just ruined it for you guys. The next time you watch it, you won't be able to not think about it. And the music is always to die for, but that's John Carpenter. I watched Censor. I did a review on this. I watched False Positive recently, very recently, my last video, and I did a review on this one. I watched In the Earth, finally. I actually liked this movie. I know I gave it a 3. I felt like it fell a little bit short at the end. I wanted more. I went into this movie thinking it's an environmental movie, and it was there was so much more going on. It was like more about folk and like cultish, and it was just really interesting and had a lot of different elements I was not expecting, and I think that's a great way to go into it. Even with what I've said now, you still will have no idea. So I'm just gonna give you a vague description of it, and you can just think of it like this. The movie is about 2 people who embark on this mission to this test site, but along the way they're attacked and left for dead until they find a stranger. I thought this film had amazing cinematography, obviously. Really liked the acting. I thought that it was really clever and just really dragged me into the story, but it is a little bit of a loose concept, so towards the end I felt a little bit lost. A friend of mine, Ben, pointed out that there should be probably like a strobing trigger warning, but I've watched so much Gasper that it's like it doesn't matter to me anymore, but just a warning for you guys. I think this one is very much worth a watch. I know a lot of people said that it was quite boring. I don't think that at all. I thought it was kind of thrilling, and it was a lot more gory than I thought. So yeah, definitely check it out if you can. I would recommend it. And it's probably worth, if you can't see it safely in the cinema, worth waiting until it's streaming, but I think it's still worth seeing. I watched Good on Paper, which this was just a Netflix comedy. Not great. It's about a comedian who like meets this guy, and I don't even understand the title because it doesn't make any sense. She doesn't like him, then she does, then she doesn't, and then she realizes he's lying about everything. The trailer gives away all that, so don't worry. But yeah, I mean, don't even bother about that one. I watched Rebirth. This is a gem. Well, look, people said yeah, meh. But I'll tell you who it's a gem for. It's for people who like Cube, Mayhem. It's for people who like those like kind of puzzle movies, like Escape Room. It is about this man who's very happy in his life, but he's very 9 to 5. And his friend comes along and tries to introduce him to this workshop called Rebirth. And he goes there, and it is not what he expected. I think that this is kind of like, what's that movie? Was it Cadaver? I forget the name. I put it up here. You know, like a puzzle, they're stuck in an area, meets like Escape Room in a way. A little bit more sexy and a little bit more slick and a little bit more like dark humor. And it's about like, it's got a lot of men with like masculine energy in it. I don't know how to explain it without giving too much away, but I thought it was really clever, and it doesn't take itself too seriously. So if you're into like a little puzzle that doesn't take itself too seriously, definitely check this one out. It is on, I think I watched it on Netflix. I think I watched it on American Netflix with my VPN. I think that's where I watched it. I watched Thoroughbreds again because I saw the trailer when I was like flicking through Netflix the other night, and I'm like, oh man, like maybe I was wrong. Because I gave this 5 out of 10 the first time. I just didn't like how like pompous it was and dry. It was so dry. And I love dry movies, but I was real thirsty. So I watched Thoroughbreds for the second time, and I appreciate it a lot more. I think you've got to go into this one with the mindset that it is dry, but it's also psychological. So it's less about the actual event of these two oddballs getting together and more about their different psychological elements, and being interested in that. When I say their psychological elements, I mean there's psychological issues, I guess. So this stars Olivia Cooke and Anna Taylor-Joy, and they're these two upper class girls who used to have a friendship early in their life, and now they're, you know, like teens. Then, you know, they kind of drifted apart, and Olivia Cooke's character is very much like a recluse. And I mean, I don't want to ruin her character for you, but it's quite interesting. And it's about how they kind of team together to come up with this plan because Anya Taylor-Joy hates her stepfather. When you go into it knowing it's like a character study on them and their friendship and that kind of puzzle, I think it's really interesting. But it still misses the moments I really wish they should have showed. So I wish there was a little bit more there, but I do think it's an interesting story, and it's definitely worth watching and seeing what side of the fence you sit on. I watched The Grave Dancers, which this movie is like half genius, half horrendous. You know, this is a 2006 horror movie about these friends who, you know, they were part of like a foursome, like their friend group, and then one passes away. They pass away before the movie starts, and they attend the funeral, and then they decide to go to the gravesite and disrespect some graves, and then they're pretty much haunted from there. It's really cool because it has very interesting elements and backstories to the graves they danced on, and they have this paranormal team that helps them, and it's just very like satisfying in a weird way, but it's so poorly acted. It's a movie that would be really cool if it was remade, because you don't really see this kind of simplicity done in such a fun way that they can tell like this whole story about these people's backstories with in terms of the ghosts. So I thought that was really cool. It's a really cool ghost story, but it's not good. If that makes sense. I think it's like half genius, half trash. And if that sounds like you, definitely check it out. From trash to gold, I watched Rear Window. I wanted to rewatch this because I haven't seen it since I was a kid, and it's just such a good movie. I know that's the obvious, but what I really like about it is it has so many different elements. It has you know, comedy, and then it has like this sad kind of tragic love story. And then obviously it has the most tension ever, and it's just really on the edge of your seat tension. I just love this movie, and if you haven't seen it, you're doing yourself a disservice. It really is a well-paced movie, but also has so much tension and such a interesting arc, and I love it. I then watched Hit and Run. Well, is this the right one? This is definitely the wrong one. Why do I do myself? Hang on, let's put on the right one. This one. 2009, and it was horrendous. I'm gonna give it 1.5. This is a horror movie. No, it is a horror movie about a girl who gets in a hit and run because she was drink driving. It's horrendous. It's just so silly. It's just a silly movie, and it starts off with an interesting premise, and it's just awful. It's a very interesting movie because it's very low budget, and half of it looks like it could pass as, you know, something that you would watch in the cinema, and then the rest just looks like it's shot on an iPhone. And I mean, some films can be shot on iPhones and look great, but it's like this, you know, like the way they're filming. I don't know how to explain it. It's just very weird. What's interesting about it is it has this amazing opening where it starts with like Modest Mouse, and she's like driving home drunk, and she's singing along, and then just from there, it just turns into this strange goose chase. I would not recommend it to any of you. So that's all of the movies I watched this month. I would recommend Rear Window, Thoroughbreds. I recommend Rebirth to those people that I said that like those kind of movies. In the Earth, Censor, Wrong Trousers, In the Mouth of Madness, Color Out of Space, Killing of Two Lovers, maybe if you like dramas. Book of Shadows, of course. Mandy, Blue Jay, Caveat, and the Michelles versus the Machines. There you go, guys. That's a lot. So let's talk about TV now. Okay, one of the first TV shows I watched this month was Mayor of Easttown. A lot of people were screaming this one at me, telling me how good it was, and I'm so glad I got to watch it and nothing got ruined, because this is a murder mystery miniseries. It stars Kate Winslet, and she is the detective of this small town that is dealing with a case of a murder. And it's a murder mystery. What am I going to say? But it's one of those ones where you get introduced to several characters, different motives, different overlapping, winding stories, and it's just an interesting ride. Really well done. Cinematography is A+, and Kate Winslet, this is really one of the best performances of her career, only because I know she's great in everything she does, but only because she's really allowed to shine, and it's really all about her performance and her reaction. She's a flawed character that's really detailed. She has problems with alcohol, with relationships, and it's such a good all-round TV show. Highly recommend. Very top tier. I finished watching Love, Death and Robots season 2. As everyone says, wasn't as good as season 1, but I did love the Giants one, which I think was the last episode. If you don't know, Love, Death and Robots is an anthology TV show where every single episode is different, but in this case, it's all animated by different people. It's different stories that really aren't connected, except they have to have love, death, or robots, or all three. They're really not connected at all. But some of them are like quite funny, some of them are quite serious, and I thought it was interesting, and definitely recommend checking it out, because some of them only go for a couple of minutes to like 15 minutes, so it's an easy thing to watch. It's on Netflix. I watched Handmaid's Tale season 4. When I was posting about this, so many people said that they were bored of Handmaid's Tale in season 2. So maybe I'm not the best source for this, because I can't even like think about watching the show without almost getting emotional. I couldn't bring myself to watch season 4 before it all ended, because I need to like binge it in one go, because it's so heavy to have on you. If you don't know what Handmaid's Tale is about, it's Elizabeth Moss's tale, really, because she is just, it's like one of the best performances ever on screen. It really is. She plays June in this dystopian, futuristic version of America, where religion has taken over America and turned it into a place called Gilead, where all of the laws have been changed and they have full control over women. It is the most insane show ever, and it's done so well. Anyway, season 4, if you thought that season 2 was slow or season 3 was slow, season 4 has the best payoffs ever. Everything you were waiting for, season 4 is just like hitting it here. Every episode, I can't believe how many like reveals or like situations they got into like in one episode, that you're like, wow, this is usually stretched over a whole season. So a lot happens in that season. I think it's very much worth your time. It is so chilling and powerful and amazing. Elizabeth Moss directs a couple of episodes, and Max Richter, who is one of my favorite musicians, he does a lot of the music for it, or it uses a lot of his really famous, well-loved songs, and it's just such emotional torture. It really is, but it's so good, and I just love it so much. Another TV show I watched was Cruel Summer. Cruel Summer is very cheesy. It's a very cheesy TV show, but I had to know what happened. This is another mystery, not a murder mystery, but another mystery. What's really interesting about this show is it's about two girls who have two different sides to this tale, and it's over 3 summers. So it shows you, I believe it's 1993, 1994, and 1995, and it shows you like those years, each episode, like a day or maybe like a week in those years that is like corresponding. It's so crazy. So like one would be June 26th, you know, 1993, 1994, and 1995 all in the same episode. So it's like you can compare how different their lives have become over that time. The film is based around this incident of someone going missing, and it's, you know, it shows you the before, during, and after of all of these years, and then you slowly kind of piece the story together. It's pretty fascinating. I liked it. I really did. I have to admit. It was quite cheesy. It's very drama. It's not very thrilling, and it's very like teen drama, but I liked the mystery and I liked the way it was set up. I thought it was something different and something fun. Maybe not fun, but yeah, something different. I do think a lot of you guys would probably like it too. I think it is... It is like 10 episodes long, so maybe, you know, like 45 minutes. So it depends if you have time for that kind of thing. But I think it's a well done mystery for, yeah, maybe not for my demographic, probably meant for younger people, but I enjoyed it. The other things I want to talk about quickly and really hang myself out to dry, I always watch Catfish. If you didn't know that about me, I'm always watching Catfish. But Catfish UK has come out, so I started watching that. It's very interesting, and surprisingly, I love the presenters they got, so that's really cool. I'm really glad they went with who they got. So check that out if you haven't. Definitely worth your time if you're a Catfish lover like me, because I was really iffy on if they would pick the right people. And then I've been watching The Hills, The New Beginning, season 2, not season 1, season 2 is out now. And it is like, it is trash, but it's also like every night I go to sleep and I worry about Audrina and her livelihood. So that's everything I watched this month. I would definitely recommend checking out Mayor of Easttown. That's very much worth your time, if anything else that I've spoken about. But I know you've probably got that suggestion from a couple of people, but even more so, Spookyastronauts is telling you, watch it. It's so worth it. Okay, that's everything I watched this month. But as promised, I said during the video, I would talk about this at the end. I have a very exciting video coming next week. So in a couple of days, I will still have out my what's coming to VOD this month. But I have a very, very exciting video that is a ranking video. If you've put together the clues, you'll get it. And it doesn't just star me. I really want to put all of my attention and time into it. I still work a day job. So I'm going to, if it's okay with you, I'm sure it is, going to only do one video next week. Probably the first time in a very long time. I don't know, like a year or two. I'm only doing that because I really want to put all of my time and energy into it and not rush it, because it's something very special for my channel. And I don't know, it's like the most exciting video I've ever done, to be honest. So I really don't want to get out another video or rush the other video. So I have two. I'd rather just spend time on getting this one perfect. So don't worry, VOD is still coming. And then next week we'll have just one video. I mean, if I can help myself, sometimes I just end up doing 3 anyway. But that's the plan as of now. Thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me today. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Let me know what you watched down below. And thank you to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. I'll talk to you all very soon. Stay spooky. Bye.